Good morning, third graders. Happy Tuesday. We're going to be starting language in just a minute. So make sure you have your English 3 book and your pencil and get that all open and ready. And then you can, if you need to pause the video to get ready, you can. All right, guys. Okay, so yesterday we started talking about adjectives. And adjectives describe what? Who can remember? Adjectives describe nouns. They describe people, places, things. Usually, like if I had a flag, I'm going to think first of colors, right? How would we describe this flag, our American flag? Well, we could say it's a red, white, and blue flag. What shape is it? Rectangular. So we could say it's a red, white, blue, rectangular. How else could we describe this? What does it have on it? Stars. So if we add ed, it becomes an adjective. It's a starred flag. It's a fringed flag. You see the little fringe on the edges. But I could describe the material. It's kind of silky, right? It's not very big compared to some flags, but I could say maybe it's a small flag or a medium flag, all right? But all adjectives do is they make our sentences better and they help us to describe what we're talking about. So today we're going to learn about adjectives that use the ending ER and EST. Now there's certain rules when we use ER and when we use EST. So if we're only describing two different things, and we're going to do some examples in a second, we use ER at the end. If we're describing more than two nouns, we're going to use EST. So let's look at some of these sentences and see. I put some of you guys in them for fun. So I'm going to stand over here so we can read it. Let's look at our first one. Leah's jump is high. That means she jumped really high. Now, our adjective in that sentence is what? So we're describing Leah's jump. How did she jump? She jumped high, right? So high is describing the jump. Let's look at our next sentence. Kalani's jump is higher than Leah's jump. Okay, so now we've got Kalani's jump, and what word is describing Kalani's jump? Higher. It is higher than Leah's jump. Okay, so how many kids did we talk about in the first sentence? Just one, just Leah. So we didn't need an ending. Leah's jump is high. I wouldn't say higher because we're not comparing it to anybody else. How many kids did we have in our second sentence? We've got two. We've got Kalani was our first one, and Leah was our second one, right? And so because we have two, let's go back to our rule. With two nouns, what are we going to put after the adjective? ER, and that's why there's an ER after high. So we have Kalani's jump is higher than Leah's jump. Okay, let's go to our third sentence. Cleo's jump is the highest of all. Okay, so now we've got Cleo's jump. What word is describing Cleo's jump? It is the highest. Okay, so now I know that I only have one student's name in this sentence, but we can tell that it's building off of these, right? If this was a paragraph or something I was writing. And so how many kids' jumps were we comparing by the time we got to the third sentence? We had Leah's and we had Kalani's, and now we're saying who jumped the highest? Cleo did. Cleo's jump is the highest of all. Since there was more than two nouns, we had more than two kids, we had three, we had to use the ending EST, okay? So now we're gonna do a fun one, and I've got some words up here. Tall, taller, tallest. All right, well, a lot of you know Miss Rocha loves cactus, right? Well, at Valentine's Day, Charlotte got me this cute little cactus, and it's tall. I wouldn't call it short, right? So this is, I would say, Charlotte's cactus is tall, all right? Back in December, and I took it out of the case, but I've got it in the little pot here, Micah got me this cactus. And if we were comparing Charlotte's and Micah's, whose is taller? Micah's is a little bit taller, right? So we're going to say Micah's cactus is taller than Charlotte's cactus. And did you notice that I used ER at the end of tall because I'm comparing two nouns, two cactus. All right, but now, see if I can hold all three at the same time. Last year, and when Valentina was in my class, she got me this cactus, and I'm gonna say Valentina's cactus is the tallest, right? Okay, the reason I had to use EST was because I was comparing three cactus, right? So Charlotte's was tall, Micah's was taller than Charlotte's, and Valentina's is the tallest of them all, okay? There's another word I want you to look at that's added whenever I used highest. And it's not before the word higher. So let's see, we have is high, is higher, is, look at this word, the highest. Whenever you see the word the, that's a little hint that we're going to use, that we're comparing lots more than two things. And so that gives us a little clue to use the EST. Okay, guys, we are going to be looking at our workbook page now. And I'm going to, little tour of the class. Here we go. Look how different everything looks. Ms. Roach has a funny setup with our desk so I can get this computer up here. Okay, that looks pretty good, I think. Okay, all right. So I want everyone to have their book open. And the reason I'm having us look at our book, I'm going to turn off a couple lights here. Is because there's some spelling changes we have to make sometimes when we add ER and EST to words. So let's look at that box at the top of page 229. It shows you that most adjectives do not change spelling when adding ER or EST. So look at green. Green, that plant is green. That plant is greener than the other plant, but this plant is the greenest of them all, okay? There was no change to the spelling of green. We just added ER, and then on this one, we added EST. Now let's look at strange. It says, if an adjective ends in a silent E, that means we don't hear the E at the end of the word, we're going to drop the E before adding ER and EST. So if I have the word strange, I'm going to change my marker, it ends in an E that is silent. Instead of adding, look at how it would look funny if I added ER. Strangier, no, we're not going to do that. All we're going to do is technically add the R. If you want to say drop the E like this, cross it out, and then add your ER or your EST, either way is fine, okay? Look at the next one. It's a little bit different. We're not dropping any letters, we're adding letters. So it says if one syllable adjective has a short vowel, so a, I, right? The word fat, the A doesn't say A, it says a, correct? That is a short vowel sound. So when there's a one syllable adjective with a short vowel followed by a consonant, you're going to double the consonant before adding ER and EST. Well, there's my short a, and there's my consonant T, which tells me I need to double it. So if I say, that little pig is fat, but that pig over there is fatter, I didn't just add the ER, I doubled the T. And that hippo over there is the fattest. And I'm going to add T, double the T, and then add my EST. All right, one last rule, and then we're going to look at our paper. If an adjective ends in a consonant followed by a Y, you're going to change the Y to an I before adding ER or EST. So let's look at happy. Mrs. Roach is happy, okay? It ends in a Y. Now, if I wanted to talk about Mrs. Evans, I could say, Mrs. Evans is happier than Mrs. Roach. Maybe she just got a present or something. And so we would drop the Y, change it to an I, and then add my ER. Now you can kind of see if I wrote happier with the Y, it looks funny. Look at that right there, right? So we're used to seeing this spelling change. You might just not have noticed it before, okay? All right, and the last one, happiest, same thing. I'm gonna drop the Y and change it to an I, excuse me, and add EST. Okay, so let's see if we can do some of these together. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read both of them to you, and I want you to circle in the one that sounds the best to you. Okay, so the first one says, my marker is brighter than your pencil. My marker is brightest than your pencil. Which one is correct? The top one. Now, why is the top one correct? The top one is correct because how many objects are we comparing? We're comparing my marker to your pencil. So I'm only comparing two things. If we're only comparing two things, then we use ER, not EST. Okay? All right, let's look at our next one. She is the younger of the three girls. She is the youngest of the three girls. Which one should we do on that? Yes, the bottom. Now, why do we use EST? Because there are three girls getting compared. Remember, if there's more than two, we have to use EST. All right, let's see if we can do some spelling on the bottom because they give us some of those tricky ones. All right, so number 3 says busy. And we're going to compare two things. So I could say, Camila is busy doing her work, comma, but, let's pick another student, Malachi is even busier than her. Okay, how would I spell busier? Well, let's look at our rule here. So we've got B-U-S-Y. If I go back up to the top and look at my Y rule, if an adjective ends in a consonant followed by a Y, change the Y to I. Okay, so let's change our Y to I. Let's see if you guys can spell it correctly at home. And we're doing all printing, so don't worry about cursive. If you would like to do cursive, of course you may. But do try to be neat. Remember, I'm going to be looking at how carefully and neat all your work is when we come back. All right, busier, B-U-S, change the Y to an I-E-R. More than two. Now let's add another student. Who could we pick? I know all your hands would be up right now. Let's say William. William is the busiest of all. And I'm going to add B-U-S, change my Y to an I, and add E-S-T. Okay, let's do number 4, thin. So let's see, what kind of objects are thin? And I could think of a sandwich, maybe? I don't know. I'm thinking of a thick, lots of meat or lots of cheese. We'll say this is a skinny sandwich. So we could say Mikey's sandwich is thin, but Samantha's sandwich is even thinner. Now, let's look at our rules. I'm going to just check our time real fast. Okay, since that is a short sound, we're going to need to double it. So I'm going to write T-H-I-N. There's my consonant I have to double, thinner. Okay, but let's see, who could we pick here? Zafira's sandwich is the thinnest. I gotta double that N and then add my EST. Okay, on number 5 and number 6, I'm gonna have you guys try those by yourself. And if you're able to try the back, do that as well. And then when I check in with you, I'm gonna see how you guys did. I think this is kind of an easy lesson. So I think you're gonna do well on it, but I do want you to check and just practice, make sure. And I will see you guys soon. All right, bye-bye.